how the food industry profits from slowly killing you. Now, there are conspiracies out there that health companies and medical companies pay food companies to use ingredients that are linked to cancer and a bunch of other horrible other chronic diseases. Now, when you look at a chart like this, I'm gonna put up a chart here on the screen, which shows that there are a very few companies, few very, very large companies that actually own pretty much all of brands for all the consumables of most of the different types of food, most of the different types of consumable products like toothpaste, like body wash, like laundry detergent, and all of these things. There's some few big guys at the very, very top that basically control everything. It's pretty scary when you actually think about how all of this could be connected. Because if we look at somebody like Johnson & Johnson, for instance, it's on the chart. They make Splenda, they own Cinnabon, they own all these different companies, and we also know that Johnson & Johnson makes other health products like, things like baby oil. They also came out with a vaccine for the recent, pandemic that we all went through. So it's really interesting to think that not only are there a few companies that own all of this, but also how much cross-pollinating is going on. How many of these companies not only own food companies, but own medical companies or have a stake in big farming companies or big industrial companies, and how all of these things could be interrelated. You look into different food policies and subsidies, there is reason to believe that farmers, big farms, big industrial farming companies are actually incentivized to overproduce things like corn and soy, which are then used to create ultra cheap, sugary, processed, as well as very fatty foods that are then pumped out into different processed and packaged foods, as well as fast foods. We all know that the junk food, the packaged food, and the fast food is well known for being very, very horrible for our health. Now, if this is the first time that you saw a graph like that where it shows the companies that own everything, I want you to drop a like on this video so that I know which one of you guys are actually seeing this for the first time. So listen, there's a lot of conspiracies out there and I can't confirm one way or the other, and I don't 100% know about all this. But what I do know is there's been plenty of cases of conspiracy theories and people who were called crazy for thinking a certain way. Then later, I told you so to all of the people that doubted them when the facts really came out. But what I do know is that they add sugar in a ton of different food because guess what? Sugar is highly addicting. And if you have products, if you have food that is highly addicting, well then guess what? You have return customers. You have people that are going to be addicted to your food, addicted to your product, and continue to make purchases. And when you look at something like highly processed sugary foods, also seen that that can create massive issues with insulin resistance, massive spikes in your blood sugar that can also affect your hunger hormones. So things that help you feel full, help you feel satiated. I'm sure we've all been there in the boat where we've eaten something that's super good and sugary and processed, and for whatever reason we don't get full. Matter of fact, the opposite happens and we actually just want to keep eating more. That is not a good sign. If you keep eating more and you can't feel full and you can't feel hungry, you're just going to simply gain weight and get fat and unhealthy. And if food companies are engineering only the most palatable foods, the foods that have insane flavor profile, that just taste super, super good, highly saturating, highly palatable foods, well then guess what? Nothing else tastes good. Regular food isn't going to taste good because you are going to be so used to that, you're going to have a damaged palate. And then what does that leave you? Well, it leaves you to only go back and choose the foods that are highly palatable because you don't want to eat anything else. You don't want to eat anything healthy. And when you do that, guess what? You are going to get fat. And what happens when you get fat and you have higher level of obesity? Well, then you are actually going to get sick more. You're probably going to work out less. You're going to increase your body fat to unhealthy levels, and you are going to be a more weak and a more sick individual who needs to go to the doctor more. And that person is also probably going to be paying for more medications, paying for more treatments, maybe even undergoing massive surgeries in which medical companies and hospitals and pharmaceutical companies make a ton of money off of that. And when you combine this within America, the way that our medical system works is we are training doctors, and the whole practice is about treating symptoms and not actually preventing and figuring out what the underlying causes are of symptoms. And what that does is instead of recommending healthy lifestyle choices and trying to reverse engineer why you have a problem in the first place, it just means, oh, okay, you have a problem? No worries. We have a medication for that that'll help you with that problem. It won't won't make it go away, but it make you feel a little bit better in the moment. In other words, it'll just treat the symptom, but it won't address any of the underlying causes. By the way, if you want to know more about how to dodge all of these shitty foods and agendas to make you fat and lazy, make sure to subscribe to my channel because I post videos on here all the time about how to optimize your health and your lifestyle. Now, the other scary things about these food companies is that what they're doing is they're sacrificing quality of their foods so that they can maximize quantity and maximize profit margin. They can make more food at a lower price, they're gonna have higher profit margin. We all know that when you optimize for lowest cost, you're also sacrificing on the quality. If you're making shittier food, then you have a population of individuals who are not only more unhealthy, and the lower the quality food, the more unhealthy, and the shittier food that you have, you'll have a more unhealthy and a more addicted population. It's sad and it's also crazy to think about how all of these things might be interrelated. But you know what? It's not all about my opinion. I wanna know what you guys think. I wanna know, do you guys think that all this is connected? I mean, do you think that there's a few people or a few companies or an elite group of people at the top who's controlling everything? Drop a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are on all this. I'm very curious. And hang on, there's a very cool and a very, very trippy animated video, short video that's actually here on YouTube that totally illustrates everything that I'm talking about. It's called In Shadow. Very trippy, very cool, and I would highly recommend you go watch that right after this video. I'm gonna drop the link in the description. Hope I didn't scare anybody out there. You can still make the right choices. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I'm gonna wrap up the video there. Peace.